traffic accident. A Beaver County man is being held for murder and more labor.
Hi guys, this is Sam from Fluid Social, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about narratives. So what is a narrative? Well, it's a way that you can build a personal connection with the girl that's going to distinguish your relationship with her from the relationship she has with many other men, or all of the people that approach her, or the people that she meets on a daily basis. So in what ways can we build these narratives, these unique stories that you can share with her that are significant to just your relationship? Well, the most simple way I can think to do it is to use nicknames. So for instance, what nickname can you give this girl based on your initial meeting? So for instance, if you walk up to her the first time and you notice that she tripped over her foot or she twisted her ankle or something, then your narrative might be based around her being a little clumsy or her being like a Bambi. So you could say, you could bring up the fact that you'd seen her trip over, and then you could call her Bambi. And you don't have to bring any attention to the fact that you've done it. It can be one of those subtle little names that you've just given her and you sort of both understand why it's there. So nicknames is the first one. The second one is unique characteristics. So what sort of unique traits or characteristics do you notice about her that again are unique to her and no one else really has? So it might be that you notice that when she's nervous, she has a little head twitch, or she blushes and looks down. Again, pick up on that. That can be the narrative. So you can say, you have this really cute trait where wherever you get nervous, you look down and you go a little bit red. You're doing it again. That's really cute. And then that can be your narrative, is every time you notice her go a little bit red, you bring it up, and it's this common thread that leads through your interaction that's significant only to your personal interaction with her. Third one could be clothing. So you probably notice, particularly if you live in London or New York, that women wear ridiculous shoes very often, very colourful, outrageous shoes, things that we would not think to buy or wear. So if she's wearing some very strange shoes, then you can just allow those shoes to become, a humorous part of the interaction. So every time she's speaking to you, you sort of slip your eyes down to them, come up and smile. So she realizes that, okay, he's taking the piss out of my shoes a little bit. And again, that can be the common thread. And I'm going to explain how you can continue these narratives after the initial interaction. And it can be very powerful when it comes to actually messaging the girl, arranging dates, and beyond that as well. After shoes, we've got assumptions. So, when we use regular assumptions like where she's from or what she's doing today, these are kind of simple assumptions based on the visual information that we're getting. But we can actually use some more abstract assumptions, some that are a little bit more interesting and difficult. So let's say, for instance, that she seems like a creative girl, she's very spontaneous, she's quick. Then you can sort of make a bizarre assumption that she has some crazy activity in her spare time. So you can say, I just get the feeling that, you're a very creative person. I just get the feeling that you're doing some crazy stuff in the evenings. Have you got some weird, artistic project? I feel like your mind is like Donnie Darko on steroids. So you can then relate that to a film that's a little bit weird or crazy. And it's fun for them to have these sort of challenges and these teases where you're comparing them to some sort of horror film or some sort of weird comedy film. Again, it's a very personal thing that no one else will have done to her. No one else will have compared her to that particular film, book, or movie character, or whatever it is. And the final one is going to be innuendo. So if she says, anything that you can misinterpret in a sexual way, then do it. Just because it's funny, and it's a way of introducing sexuality into the interaction without it being about sex. You don't want to be the creep that's trying to make everything sexual and say, I'm really looking for sex. You don't want to telegraph that you are needy for sex. However, showing that you're comfortable broaching the topic of sex is very powerful, because it suggests that you are sexually experienced, that you are comfortable talking about sex and comfortable in the presence of a sexual energy. And these are very important traits for the type of guy that this girl is going to be looking to be a partner with, or to even just to hook up with. So we've got our 5 examples of ways you can build narratives in. We've got the nicknames, the unique characteristics or mannerisms, the clothing, the abstract assumptions that we've talked about, and the innuendo. So now we're going to have a little look at what this actually does. So what is the purpose of building these narratives in? Well, firstly, whenever you see this girl or whenever you talk to her, when you relate back to that original narrative, it's going to anchor the feelings that she had in the initial interaction of heightened sexual interest or chemistry. Every time you bring it up, she's going to feel those same emotions that she felt in the initial interaction. So let's say when you go to message her, you get her number, and then immediately you text her saying, "Good morning, Bambi," if it was a girl that you saw tripping over her shoe. Immediately, you don't have to remind her who you are. You don't have to say, "Hey, it's Sam from yesterday, I approached you here," and you don't have to do any of that boring, banal messaging. You just say, "Good morning, Bambi." Immediately she knows who you are, because you're the person that built that narrative. She feels the same emotions that she felt when you first made the name, and it's a really powerful way to anchor those feelings back. It's also just a really good demonstration of creativity. You know, when most guys are doing the same things and they're all acting one way, and you've sort of got the intellect and the creativity to actually create this little story, this unique story with her, it demonstrates a lot of creativity on your part. So a couple of examples of this from my time. The shoes one's been a very popular one. So in terms of, she's wearing ridiculous shoes, very colourful. And so when it comes to messaging her, I build that narrative with her about the shoes. And when it comes to messaging her, I take a picture of someone who's wearing even more ludicrous shoes. And I send her the picture with a message saying, "I found the only person with more ridiculous shoes than you." That's one way that I've done it. Another one, if I met a girl in Pret-a-Manger and she was ordering her coffee and she dropped her phone on the floor. And so I called her Butterfingers. I said, "You should be careful." I said to her friend, "You need to stop putting Molly in her coffee in the morning." So I built this little narrative around her being, a bit of a Butterfingers, not very careful with her things. And then so I said, "Good morning, Butterfingers." And immediately she knew who it was. And when I met up with her and dated her, the narrative continued. So when I'd buy her a drink, I'd be like, "Are you sure you're okay with that? You've got to be careful with it. Remember what happened last time?" And you're building that narrative into your relationship as it progresses on. So I'm going to do a video straight after this one, which you guys are going to see in about 3 or 4 days, on the 3 rules to effective messaging. And that will be via WhatsApp, text message, email, Facebook. There are 3 rules that lead to an effective and successful message. So this will help you guys to watch that video after you watch this one, to get a good idea of how you can actually build these narratives into the text messaging process. But essentially, you want to use this narrative in the first message you send to her. You want that nickname to be there. You want a bit of that storyline of what you were actually talking about in the interaction to be there, to bring her memory back to who you are when she first met you. If you just say, "Hi, it's Sam from yesterday, I met you here," she's not going to remember any of the content of the interaction. She might remember your face, your name, and a little bit about you, but you'll be some vague abstraction. You're not going to be a concrete vision attached with memories and feelings. Whereas if you use this narrative, then she's going to know exactly who you are, and she's also going to know how she felt about you at the time and feel those feelings again. So this is answering a question that I got from Ashley. So shout out to Ashley. Great question, and I hope this answers it. For any more information on narratives and how you can actually apply these in your own interactions, get in touch with me on the phone number and the email address below. Like the Facebook page in the link, and I will see you on the next video, which will be the 3 rules to effective text messaging. Peace out.